Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is directed by Jill Kinnan and stars a lot of people. A lot. I'm not joking.
I've been waiting 40 years for this. They called themselves Ghostbusters. According to these hacks, they saved the world.
We'll talk about Paul Rudd, Carrie Coon, and McKenna Grace to start with. They're pretty good. McKenna Grace is definitely the saving grace of this film. If she was not in this movie, I don't know how watchable it would be because there's nothing to latch onto. This movie is almost completely devoid of any emotional connection. Like, it just feels like a movie that exists that doesn't really have a purpose of existing. Does it expand the universe? I mean, I guess it does because it's extra things that happen in this world. But is it things that was necessary? I don't think so. In fact, I think this is more of a dagger to the heart than it is another track we can like run down to progress the story. So when the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force, Ghostbusters New and Old must join forces to protect their home and save the world from a second ice age. The second ice age lasts for like 5 minutes. I feel like the movie goes out of its way to establish so much lore, so much so that the movie is over 2 hours. I don't know that this movie had to be 2 hours, but the lore was way too convoluted and I think a little too uninteresting for its own good. Like, I get the attempt at trying to build something and make it interesting, but I think inherently by doing that, you either have to have a very specific, narrow way to do that and loaded with a lot of information that you yourself are familiar with, and communicate that in such a way that the audience can understand it. And then there's the way they did it, where it's like they just tried to dump a bunch of scenes together talking about X, Y, and Z. And it just does not communicate well, in my opinion, which is unfortunate because I did like the original Ghostbusters. I did not watch Afterlife, did not watch the other Ghostbusters film, but this one just felt like there's a lot of like pieces to it that feels like the original, but it feels like impressions of the original, which I don't think is a good thing. I feel like this movie is such a shell of its former self that it almost just feels like it was made because we haven't had a Ghostbusters movie in a couple years. And, you know, like, I understand like a lot of people liked Afterlife, and I can't comment on that film because I haven't seen it. I don't want to grandstand here, but unless you have something legitimately to say, like, why are we doing this? And that's kind of my biggest problem with this movie. Like, it's not bad. Like, I wouldn't like say, you know, this is a 1 of 10, never go see it, but it's also just not very good. Like, to say it was mediocre, I think might be a compliment. I don't know. There's just nothing to latch onto. There's no emotional connections anywhere. If there's anything, it's McKenna Grace. And, you know, personally, I think that they kind of did her character a disservice in the sense that, like, there's a decision made throughout the film that doesn't feel like it's organic or earned or something that character would do, I personally think. I don't know. I just think that the movie wasn't true to its characters and didn't utilize characters, honestly. Like, Finn Wolfhard, I don't know why he's in this movie. Like, outside of that's the kid from Stranger Things and he was in our previous film, I don't know why he's in this movie. Some of the stuff with Carrie Coon and Paul Rudd really works, but, you know, it's such a limited portion of the film that I don't know that really matters. Last but not least, let's talk about the returning cast. I loved what they did with Winston, Ray, and Janine. I don't know that I love what they did with Peter. And when I say loved, by the way, I mean, like, at least it doesn't harm their characters. Like, they had something to do, and there's a small moment in the movie with two characters I think really works. But again, against a 2-hour film, a small moment isn't enough, which is the unfortunate part of it all. I feel like this movie is just, again, so devoid of emotion that, like, there's just nothing. You're just watching things happen. There is a stereotypical, and I don't feel like I'm spoiling this because this is in so many movies, but if you don't want something like maybe lightly, minimally spoilery, I think it might even be in the trailer if it is. I won't put the word up. There's an actual sky beam in this. I thought we left that in 2016. What are we doing? And I think that's what's got me so, like, passionate about this. Like, I just feel like we've gotten past these types of things. And, you know, it's so sad seeing it come up again. Oh, one other person I want to talk about, and it's more so because I think he's been getting a lot of hate, and I don't particularly understand it. Kumail Nanjiani. For me personally, I mean, I guess I don't have 40 years of Ghostbusters in my brain and just have it in a glass box, I guess. But you know, he's like Rick Moranis light, I think. And personally, like, he's the Rick Moranis character. Is he as good as a Rick Moranis? Absolutely not. No one is saying that. In fact, a lot of people don't like him in this movie. But that's his archetype. Like, that's what he's doing. Like, he is supposed to be slightly odd and different and something that you're supposed to be like, why is he acting like this? This is so not normal. And I don't know why he's getting like this weird, like why he's obtaining some of this weird blame that he is for this movie. I'm not going to go as far as say that I enjoyed his presence in the movie, but I don't think he was bad. In fact, like I think he's one of the parts that you're curious what he's going to say. And I don't know that you can say that about a lot of the other characters in this movie, which is kind of bad. So that being said, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe. It really helps the algorithm. I'm super appreciative when y'all do that. Have you seen the movie? Am I crazy? Do you like Kumail Nanjiani? Did you hate Kumail Nanjiani? Did the movie work for you? Let me know in the comments. Anywho, I am getting out of here, and I will see you guys next time. Adios.